And I'd like to welcome everybody today to the New School of Architecture and Design, our virtual luncheon presenting Elena Pacente. I'd like to introduce Elena. She's been with New School for 5 years. She comes to us from Milan, Italy, one of the top-ranked design schools in the world. She has an undergraduate and graduate degree in architecture and a PhD in industrial design. And when they say surround yourself with brilliance, we are happy to have Elena here with us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Welcome, everybody. I'll try to walk you through what we do in the design programs in a New School through the program themselves. But let me introduce you a little bit about New School. First of all, a welcome from our president, Marvin Maleka, who is actually a star in the field of architecture and design. And so we're really lucky to have him as a president, who really is not just an administrator, but much more. Is an architect, is a brilliant person with so many years of experience in education and higher education, in public and private schools. So he's really giving the brilliance that we always wanted at New School. And what is our philosophy? We are rooted in design thinking, and we really focus on preparing students for practice. That means that we really want you to become designers, okay? To become very good designers, work and not just theoretically study what design is, but practice design since day one. So we normally say that is a very practice-based kind of study. Our mission is to nurture and inspire design-minded students and to become architect and design citizens. And we have two main schools within New Schools. One is the School of Architecture and Construction Management with undergrad and graduate programs. And the other school is Design, which I'm the dean of, that includes product design, interior architecture and design, and media design. So 3 undergraduate programs. We are accredited by the Western Association of Schools, so basically by the regional accreditation. That, as you might know, is one of the most important accreditation to have. And we also are very good ranked, and we are award-winning faculty and students. I'll give you some examples of our awards later on. So we have, of course, throughout all the programs, some important pillars. And for us, as I was saying earlier, we want you to become very good design and architects in the professional life. And as you might know, the professional life, especially for designers, is changing rapidly, is evolving on a very fast pace. So for us, being rooted in the preparation for practice means working with the industry all the time. And I'll go back on this point in a few minutes. The second very important point for us is human welfare. So we're not designing environments, products, media, digital media, just for them, for the products themselves or the environment themselves, but for human beings. So the ultimate scope of design is to improve the life of people. And this is what we truly believe here, and is one of the most important pillars throughout all the programs. So we start from human-centered design. Environmental empathy comes as a consequence. If you care about people, you care about the environment. We don't want to promote a neutral way to design, but a way to design that takes care of what is the effect of what we use every day and the place we live every day, on how we behave every day on the environment. And also, of course, the urban engagement that becomes in several different ways that are, from taking care of course, on how the overall urban environment develops, but also be directly involved in what is the urban environment. So we do a lot of projects and initiatives with our community here in San Diego. So we are local, but at the same time, very global. So we are connected with lots of different universities in the world, but also we bring diversity inside the school. So we really believe that you can become a good designer just embracing diversity and exploring what the different backgrounds, different cultures, different way of seeing things can do to innovate, to envision what doesn't exist yet. So we have a very varied faculty. Of course, everybody teaching at the school is based in San Diego, but with very diverse backgrounds and very diverse cultural provenance. Well, I'm Italian myself, so I am probably the living proof of this. But I'm not the only person in the faculty to be from a different country. We also have a diverse population of students. We are very happy to have diversity in the classrooms because I guarantee you that the quality of the design improves dramatically. And we promote study abroad opportunities strongly. In particular, the design programs have a study abroad component in Milan at Domus Academy since the very beginning. And this is a very good opportunity to open the eyes and be exposed to design in one of the capital of design. As I was saying, we have this focus on career and industry. So the numbers of our placement tell us that we are doing right. So we have 88% right now of job placement within 6 months from graduation. That is a big number. And we just graduated the first classes and years of designers, and they are doing well as well as architects. So where are we? This message is mainly for people who are not based in San Diego. So if you are based in San Diego, you know very well where you are. If you're not, let me tell you just that we are in the art of what is considered contemporary innovation in California. Well, a lot of development. I have cranes and all over around me, constructions everywhere. We are in East Village. So that's where specifically we are located, and has been not by chance, but very much a choice of the school to be in the district that is considered the district of design, arts, and technological development. East Village is now in a very strong development, as I was saying, so it's literally kind of noisy right now because we have constructions all over around the school, but it's also an energetic place, so you can feel the energy of the city changing. And we hope that we're gonna contribute to this change as we always done so far, and possibly in a very good direction. So what is design? Let's start from a little bit of a background of what is design in our mind and according to what design is considered worldwide. First of all, let me tell you that whatever design you're gonna practice, the value and the importance of design has changed and increased all over the years. And this is a very good news because design, take as an example industrial design, most of the time in the past has been considered the last, passage of a chain in which, we were asked to make things pretty or prettier, but technology was driving the show, as well as business or engineers. Nowadays, design is really design-centric company, design-driven companies, design thinking is very important, and it's demonstrated that companies performs over business in the business much better being design-centric. I don't want to do the example of Apple, but you might understand with this example very well what I'm talking about. So if design is so important, how do we teach design here? So of course we start from the main aspect of design that applies to environment, so interior architecture and design. design that applies to graphics and visual communication, that is media design, and design that applies to product, that is product design. This is an entire area of design studies nowadays. And to us, it's very important that these disciplines live together, because it's just having the bigger picture that you will become a good designer. Even if you're studying interior architecture and design, being exposed to media and to products will make you a better designer. And I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm saying later on. This connection Milano-San Diego, the San Diego-Milano, is a very important asset of the design, especially related to products and interior. And so that's where we base the study abroad component in Domus Academy on. So we do have these Italian philosophies, if you want. We were born as a collaboration with Domus Academy Milan, where I come from. So I have been working at Domus Academy in design research and education for more than 16 years. I was young when I started, but I really try to bring the experience and the knowledge of a place like this Domus Academy in Milan to the most innovative center of design that nowadays is California. And of course, California is mostly known for worldwide in design world for San Francisco, the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and probably Los Angeles. But San Diego is emerging as the next destination. And San Diego is emerging as a place where innovation and experimentation is done, startups, and everything is happening here. So this mix of a very strong design knowledge based on the European experience and the European, let me tell, beauty, united with integrated with this strong wave of innovation of California, brings the best that you can expect from design education. The industry partnership is the most important part of the whole program, and you'll see when I give you some examples on how we work. Let me start from product design. So product design is the program that basically is known in other places as industrial design. We prefer to call it product design as in the most important schools in the world, because products have changed a lot. Most of the products not only have an industrial component, a tangible component, but also an intangible component or a digital component. That means that we're now moving from simple products to more complex and articulated products. So product design teaches students how to become designers for all kinds of industries, and consider that the possible careers that I'll show you in a minute are really in a wide range, are really in very wide. Imagine that every product nowadays has to be designed, from this bottle of water until the next iPhone. Where is the camera? Here. So it's really wide. So what you're seeing right now on the screen is a matrix of how the sequence of the program works. I'm not going to go through the details, of course, but I just wanted to give you an idea on how we teach design. Is an undergraduate program lasting 4 years with 3/4 of full-time study. So normally it's 15 credits a quarter, the required course load. And we start from foundation in year 1. We move to a component of industrial design in second year. So basically we focus on tangible products, manufacturing and production system, materials. You see some of the classes really focus on the tangibility of products. Third year, we explore more the complex products and the user experience, and what interaction design is. How do we dialogue with everything that we use every day, right? When we open a new software on our computer, or when we use a sensing device on our whistle to understand how we are doing with movement or heartbeats and so on. So we explore the world of complex products. And on the fourth year, we challenge students with a project that is more on the summation of what you have learned in the previous 3 years, and then we focus on thesis, where actually students focus on more on what their preferred field of design would be. So as you probably won't see from the name of the classes, but the main classes of each program, and product design is one of them, are the studio projects. So every quarter, students are busy into or challenged with a studio project that is a 6-credit class. So it's the most, let's say, important in terms of time in the week. And we address a real life project. So from the very beginning, after foundations are completed, students will work with professionals. Instructors of studios are mainly professionals, so these practitioners from design firms, and an industry, to solve a problem or to start from a problem and reframe the problem with an industry and find solutions. You see examples of storage solution that we designed with this startup, Sueño, in San Diego a couple of years ago. They were investigating on storage units or solutions for desks and specifically for young generation living in dorms. So we started investigating what living in a dorm means and what the need of storage was. And you see one of the examples of the projects, very successfully developed by one of our students. One other example in the same arena, very simple solution, but very clever and based on the observation of what really students needed. This is an example of a project, a second-year project done in collaboration with Sound United. That is a group of companies worked based in San Diego that develop audio equipments, and they have different brands, and they were asked to develop, the students were asked to develop new solutions based on certain technologies that they were exploring and using. And this is actually a clip that you can wear on your jacket while riding your bike or your motorbike and listening to music or to your phone directly into the ear, which is a new technology, and without wearing the headphones. So improving security while riding the bike, for instance. This is another example of a project we also did with an industry doing audio equipment or sound technologies. They asked us to explore the world of loudspeaker for the kitchen environment. So this is an example of an object designed not only to be waterproof, but to be hung or positioned in several different ways according to what you normally do in a kitchen. We do not only bring industry inside a school, but we do go outside. As I was saying, product design specifically is a very is a field that is evolving fast. We don't even know what we're gonna design in 4-year times, right? So we have to be ready, and we have to be exposed to what the method is to work in a company, now the methodologies and the tools that we use. And so seeing realities and see what they are actually doing is very important for us. This was a workshop we did on materials and finishes and soft qualities for cars at the Nissan Design Center in San Diego. And this is an example of what a project of the complexity I was mentioning on the 3rd year looks like. So we were asked to develop a vehicle for emergency transportation of people who need to go to the hospitals in areas in which you don't have proper streets and you don't have ambulances or you don't have a strong network available to bring people around. So Marcelo Cortez and Juan Name developed this interesting solution that was not only based on the vehicle, the design of the vehicle itself, but on how to really make a solution that could work in certain areas. They started analyzing Brazil and Mexican areas in which you have this situation, And they found out that people were actually using motorbikes. There were a lot of people with private motorbikes around, much more than cars or any other transportation means. So they decided to design a system based on the vehicles and the distribution of those, and based on the concept of Uber. So these people riding motorbikes, willing to participate, to be helpful, can subscribe, become riders, like in the actual Uber, to really support the health system to rescue people. A very successful project that was, they won the Core 77 Notable Students Transportation Award this year. Very important award. Let me just give you a little bit of an insight on what the career after studying product design can be. So you can become a traditional industrial designer, you can become a concept designer. So more and more companies ask designers to help engineers, technology, and business to envision some possible direction for the companies. You can become a user interface designer, a user experience designer, design researchers. If you look at IDEO from these big design firms, famous all over the world, and just have a look at the job postings that they do, you discover that there's a lot going on in the design research field, a lot. So basically, because the process and the methods are becoming even more important than the design itself. So, but also you can, if you are passionate about representation or rendering, there's plenty of possibility as card stylists or designers. But also, as I was saying, did you know that there's a profession called CMF, just color manufacturing, color, material, and finishes? That is, basically, there are designers, especially in the automotive industry, but not only, that just study these aspects of products. You know, do you think that the finishes of this iPhone is by chance? No, there's plenty of study on just what color, what material, and what texture to give to the industrial products, and so on and so forth. Of course, a lot of designers become design managers or very good project managers because they are very good in leadership and how to run a project. Projects are complex, so even the professional, the different professions follow the evolution. Let's jump on interior architecture and design. I don't know how I'm doing with time. I tend to talk a lot, so this is one of my characteristics. Interior architecture and design. First of all, once again, why interior architecture and design? Because interior is basically a form of architecture where, you know, we focus not on the building or the structural element of the building or the outside of the facade, but we focus on how the building is used. So how to live inside the buildings. And even sometimes outside, because we indirectly do a lot of landscape or outside, interior, outside, interior, inside. So I'm always playing with words as well. And I'm excused because I have an accent. So so go back to the program sequence. Same structure, 4 years, 3/4 full time. A sequence of studios that, in this case, are interior design studios that start second year to fourth. We work on foundation very similarly among the different programs to give students of design the right grammar to study design. So interior architecture and design students will study a lot of classes with product designers and media designers, because later on in the program and in the professional life, they will have to interact with this profession. So it's important to share the same language and to have a vision that goes beyond the specific field of study. The sequence of studio, as I was saying, goes, of course, from a slower complexity to a bigger complexity according to what you're learning along the way in terms of technical and also knowledge related fields. but we will face all kinds of environments. So we will design for not only residential, that is one of the main or the most common field for interior, right? So when you think about an interior designer, the first thing you have in mind is someone designing and decorating the house of private clients or for real estate and so on. So that's a part of the job. This is not the most important part of the job, though, because interior design is becoming relevant and so important in most of the architecture firms, where not only you are lucky to build new buildings, but you have to reconsider and redesign existing buildings with completely different functions inside. We are our school is in a former factory that was producing hand tank and surfing goods. And how a factory becomes a school, well, we still have some issues, but you have to reconsider completely the program, the space layout and everything. So it's very important to understand that interior design nowadays is mainly about commercial spaces, hospitality, workspaces, retail spaces, hospitals, all kinds of environments that really need design. It's not anymore a profession for just designing very nice houses. So this opens up a vast range of possibilities for career and for professional practice. So what we decided to do is to really focus a lot into commercial environment and to give students problems that range from in any kind of these sectors. So from retail to hotels, to restaurants, to resorts, to hospitals, to airports. And so you learned the complexity of interior, that is not just a matter of finishings, colors, materials, furniture. It's much more. It's about giving a quality to the human beings on where to live, where to work, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a complex discipline, but very fascinating. It's a very fascinating in discipline. Same structure, we go through a series of design projects and a series of always progressively more complex, and then we go to the final project that is basically more at the choice of the different students. Let me show you some examples of project. This is a first year project, or the first project of a second year student for a restaurant. This restaurant was designed with a real manager, with a real company. So the students had to follow the concept and the idea of the restaurant that the real owner had to put in place. In this case was open kitchen and cooking in front of the clients as one of the aspects. But it was very interesting because we were able to face all issues related to a restaurant. So and doing real life projects, what happens is that we went to visit, real construction yard or places, and we were able to understand what it's really all about, because that's something that you can get from the books, but most of this profession is really related to what you can understand by being there. So for instance, in this case, not only we learned how to design, the restaurant itself, but we learned about commercial kitchens and how much space for prep is needed, and how much back of the house space is needed. All these rules, and then you can check on the books of codes. But if you have a real idea, it's much faster, and you learn faster and easier. Another interesting example of a space we designed for is a co-working space. So one of the first exercise was to work with this was 3 years ago. So the co-working spaces weren't as diffused as today. And this is an idea on how fast the environment is changing around us. So we took one of the initial company doing co-working spaces in San Diego, and we designed for them and understanding what the real clients are. What is a co-working space? What happens inside the co-working space? How similar to a traditional office it is, how similar to an hotel it is, right? It's a new typology, so it's extremely interesting to understand what it's all about. So in design interiors of this kind, you see that you have to start from understanding your users, you have to start from programming the space, you have to start from this thinking behind the solution, so the why and what, and then you move to the how. So then you can give the personality to the space. Once you have your idea and your concept defined, you can really think how I would like the person then to feel in this space. And this is an example of one of the students who, after designing the spaces, the space with a company for a specific target of users that they wanted to attract, she gave the personality of the space as a club, more as a private club that has that feeling of being part of the community. This is an example of another scale, just to give you not only examples of how we work, but also the breadth of how, during the 4 years on how we work. This is a resort. This is a project that we did in collaboration, the students did in collaboration with Gensler in Newport Beach. And they were working on a resort for the desert. So we were given the master plan that the architects were developing. We discussed with them, and then we focused on some of the spaces. Of course, some typologies of rooms and suite, and also some of the lobbies and restaurants. In fact, it was very interesting. The dimension was scary, but the project was good to show the students' maturity, and it was a 4-year project. And this is a last example of an healthcare design facility. We always do a project where normally we mix interior architect with architect, and with studio, professional studio design firm that is specialized in design for hospitals, for healthcare. And we do design for a real client, and we have an approach that is, we call inside out. So we start from the patient room. That is where you actually can make the difference in the design. You might know that if you orient the bed of the patient in a certain way, possibly looking outside the window, you have healing effects much better than letting the person look at medical devices in front of him or her in a room, and so on and so forth, and how to improve the environment not only for the patients and their families, but for people working there, to how support a relaxing environment. It's not easy to work in an hospital, right? So our clients are not only the final users, but the people working in the places. This is an amazing exercise to really experience the importance of design. And so what are the career opportunities for interior? Of course, residential interior design, commercial interior design, as I said so far. There are design and firms and designers specialized in retail. I didn't show any example of that, but it's a very interesting sector in which designing a shop for a brand means actually participating in the design of the overall brand experience for that company. But also exhibit spaces are another sector that is very good business, because it's basically all those kind of temporary spaces that from exhibition to trade shows are required, and so on and so forth. So a very interesting professional sector. Interior design is really, the importance of interior design is going up in every design firm. So very important, very interesting field. Media design, and I will go a little bit faster. because I think we are running just a little bit late. Same structure for media design. So media design is a program that was, traditionally called graphic design. And why do we say media design nowadays? Because graphic designers are the profession that starts from graphic design nowadays is goes from branding companies. So you know what branding means: logos, identities, applications, to basically communication. And all the form of communication nowadays went from traditional media to interactive and social media. So most of the communication, imagine a company communicating to their clients, goes on different media nowadays that are not just the paper-based anymore, not just web-based, but are all in all channels. So most of the time you end up again with this guy here to design apps that are linked to websites and linked to more strategic and cross-channel experience for users. So we learn a lot of things within media design. So we start from foundation, and of course in the foundations there are foundations of visual communication and all these elements and principle of designs, color theories, like for the other programs. But then we move to a very articulated program of classes that in this case are mainly of 3 credits each. So we don't have the typical traditional studio environment, but we have more of quick classes, but with projects inside, and ranging from, again, what I was saying, branding, communication, and identity, advertisement, traditional advertisement, new advertisement, user interaction, user experience, and other area like introduction to game companies, and creative director, art director, so all the professions that are linked to the world of media and communication. So other, again, 4 intense years of study, but with a full exposure to what doing this job means nowadays. We won a lot of awards in this program. Even when we had small classes, we were able to win awards. I'll show a little video of another award that we won last year from one of the students for a little clip that the students did on a campaign against smoking. So in this case, it looks like very simple. No? You saw a less than 3-second long animation that basically is a very simple technique, stop motion, but it's how powerful you can be with communication. So I can tell you behind the scenes, the video was made of ashes from the cigarettes of her husband. So she collected the ashes, and she created this image that through the stop motion animation becomes, from the lungs to the bad end. So as other, I'm not going to show you a lot of examples, but as you can imagine, we design a lot of identities. We start from experiencing what the visual identity, the brand identity of clients is. We move into communicating through the different media. And the third year is very much on interaction. The fourth year is basic, again, is a comprehensive studio to accompany the students to their final thesis, because even in this case, students can decide to, let's say, specialize their final projects on the area that they are more interested in. Same approach, real clients, real projects, and lot of work, project-based work in the classrooms. The list of opportunities, as I was saying, from graphical designer, traditionally in a corporation or for a design firm, to digital production artist, motion graphic, user experience, interactive design, art director, creative director, branding expert. And as in the other programs, the list of career opportunities increases or grows and changes all the time, because these careers and these professions are changing very fast and very, very quick. So our idea and approach to work in straight relationship with industry and design firms allows us to be updated and contemporary along the way. So you see how during the course of study, how the world is changing just by working with real professionals and real professional, real industry, and real problems. I hope I gave you a little bit of an idea of what the programs are about. So now I will ask Michelle to come back and here and to give you some information about technical information about how to apply to the programs. We like to leave a little bit of time for discussion and for your questions after this. So I'm staying here and waiting to answer your questions.
Okay, so thank you so much, Elena. That was so many good examples of what we have going on here at the design school at New School. And I am an enrollment specialist. I'm part of a team. We have international enrollment and we have domestic enrollment. So I'd like to tell you very briefly about the steps that you need to follow to apply. But you don't have to remember them all right now. Feel free to contact us by phone or by email, and we can work with you through every step of the way, okay? So first of all, you're going to want to do an online application, which you can find at our website. It's very easy. It should take you only about 10 minutes to complete. You're also going to pay a $75 application fee. However, if you do attend one of our on-campus open house events, we will waive that $75 fee. And just to let you know, we have an open house event coming up next Friday, a week from today. It starts at 11 o'clock. And it's September 8th, okay? So we hope to see you there in person. Now, you're going to submit your transcripts from either high school or college, depending upon what level of education you're at. We also have GPA minimums for incoming freshmen. It's a 2.5. For transfer students, it's 2.7. And for graduate students, it's 2.7 as well. And if you do not meet that requirement, we do have an appeal process that's really quite simple, and that gives you the opportunity to explain whatever made you be under the requirement. And anyway, we'll go into that in more detail on a case-by-case basis. You're going to have a statement of purpose telling us why you want to come to New School, what you'd like to study, and what are your career goals. And then finally, portfolio. And we do have some questions about portfolio that I'll ask Elena. Portfolio is not recommended, or excuse me, it's not required for incoming freshmen. But we do like to see your portfolio if you have one. If you're looking for advanced placement, then you will absolutely need to submit your portfolio. And then there are some additional requirements for our international students that we can cover with you if you'd like to contact us directly. Now, Elena, I'm going to go into the question and answer. We've already had some questions coming in. Someone specifically asked, what kind of portfolios are you looking for in the design school?
It a lot depends on the program of your interest, of course, on the discipline that you're applying for, and on the level of education or the previous experiences in design that you have. Because as Michelle was explaining, for us, the portfolio is a very important piece of information when we review in the committee your application. So with two differences though, because if you apply, if you had a previous experience in a college or a community college about design and you want to transfer to new school, we need to go through all the transcript that gives us an idea what kind of credits we can transfer to the school, and we are very careful about this. We know we take care of this. We try to transfer the most as possible from previous experiences. And also we need to understand what the real skills and knowledge acquired is in the community colleges or in the previous education experiences to the portfolio. So the portfolio is mandatory for transfer students seeking for advanced placement, and is a very important piece of information for us to really evaluate if the person is a good fit for that class, is that it has the right competencies, because we don't want anybody to fail, or we don't want to push a person in a too difficult situation, but we don't also want to push back someone. So in a lower level of the program. So it depends very much on what you are applying for. Okay. With that said, for freshmen, we like to see every kind of artifact that give us the idea of your approach to design, or your inventiveness, or your capability of seeing beyond what exists. For instance, a student gave us just a portfolio of pictures of photography, basically, in which we understood very well his ability of seeing beyond existing objects and existing places, and envisioning new ideas just through photography. So it doesn't matter the means, doesn't matter the technique, but try to show us some example. For instance, there are students, we had freshman students that are crazy for interior, and they started moving around stuff in the house since they were 5 years old. Okay, well, maybe not big things, but and so in that case, even just a little project that you do in your own private space can be meaningful for us.
Perfect. Okay, here's another. Actually, we have several questions about career opportunities and internships in the design field, both here in San Diego and all around the world, actually. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Careers
and internships.
Yes, sure. So again, it's very different according to the program you're studying. I have to tell you that no matter what program, being so exposed to professionals and industry during the program, the best students get internships and all the time during the program. I have the problem of bringing them back to school because there's very hungry, correct, professional out there that really want designers. So design is really much desired right now. So we have, we try to promote internship more on the advanced level of the program. So in 4th year, we had also, for instance, for interior, we have a class that is just 1 credit class. We used to have a credit class just to show the students how to get there, or different possibilities out there, to compare the different design firms out there, and to really look at the world with more, mature eyes. And for product design and media design, we have several design firms that participate in the school, that are always interested in the students. And of course, there's the world of corporations. So you can become a designer inside a big company. It's a choice. And I always recommend in the life to try to experience the most different jobs that you can before deciding what you want to be, or before opening your own studio. We had cases of students that opened their own activities right after graduation, but most of them had previous experiences, work experiences related to design before studying maybe a second discipline. So yes, the careers range from design firms of all sizes, right, from very small to medium, big, and corporations. So we try to have a look at what is available out there, and not just in San Diego. We also promote jobs and internships outside the San Diego area for those who are interested to move. Like, for instance, San Francisco is one of the places that hire more designers, and Los Angeles is also. And then, of course, we have some possibilities from abroad, but it depends on the interest of the students. We try to be very personalized in the way we support students in in entering careers.
Great. And I'm going to segue because we have a question about the study abroad program. What are the benefits of that?
Well, I founded the programs with the study abroad component embedded, so I am a total fan of studying abroad. What's the benefit? First of all, studying within a different environment, okay? Studying with instructors, professors from a different culture, but this can happen here as well, but a different professional culture, a different culture outside. First of all, so being, exposed to an environment where you study your own discipline, your subject, so you go on with your programs, but being taught by different students and meeting being taught by different professors and meeting different students is very important. Second aspect is the exposure to the design culture, specifically Milan. Milan is the city, is the capital of design and fashion. We don't do fashion yet, who knows, here, because the industry is not grown enough in San Diego, but around. But Milan is certainly one of the places where design has always happened. And the study abroad opportunity that we are giving now happens in spring, and that's where the design week happens. So every year in Milan, there's this huge event that lasts 6 days that is called the Salone del Mobile, and that's basically used to be a trade show, a big one. So if you have been to NeoCon in Chicago, or to the Duel on Design in LA, imagine to multiply that by 10 times, 100 times. So it's a huge event, but the most important part is that outside the trade show, along all the city and throughout the city, there's more than 1,200 events at design exhibitions happening. So the whole city transformed in a design show. So it's one of the most impressive things you can be exposed to if you want to become a designer, whatever kind of design that you can have. So it's a life-changing experience. So I would say that as you know, to summarize. And of course, by being there, they go visit other places. They go visit Venice. They go visit city where architecture and design has been important for thousands of years.
Awesome. I want to go. I have time for one more question, and it is in relation to studio. When I see the studio classes, what does that mean, working in studio?
It's a good question, because especially for students coming from different or more traditional discipline or colleges, can be a challenging experience. So the studio basically is a normal class. That means that we have an instructor that tells us something, that explains us something, that gives us lectures. But we are required to design something, right? So we are required to produce a project with a certain brief and with certain deliverables. This project is it's designed in order to, with respect to the learning outcomes that we expect from the specific class along the journey of the education. And it's basically a moment in which you learn by designing. What does that mean? It means that you are required to do something in order to get the feedback back. So it's very much a class in which the relationship and the interaction between the student and the instructors is the moment of learning. So I always recommend, it might be tough, especially at the beginning, or when those days in which you feel like you don't have ideas, or you don't feel you have, what to do enough. So just do it. Just try and error all the time, because if you do and try something, the instructor can give you something. So it's an exchange. So it's a very project-based, it's very hands-on class. Can range from a simple problem or very complex problem. So when you are more mature, when you're towards the end of your program, your degree, you are able to do a lot in a studio class. You do an entire project, like with all the deliverables and stuff. At the beginning, we ask less, but that less doesn't mean that it's required less work. It means that in order to get there, you have to try and do a lot. So it's a hands-on and an interactive way of learning.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today here at New School of Architecture and Design, and Miss Elena Pacenti. And so we hope to see you at our open house on September 8th, or if you can't make that, please feel free to call us directly, email us, you can chat online. We would love to help you answer any questions that you have.
Thank you.